a love fest. I built many buildings with them. They're great people, great contractors and great people. And I have a lot of support. I hear the Teamsters, I've done a lot of work with Teamsters. I built a lot of buildings with the Teamsters, and they like me, a lot of Teamsters here. And it's an amazing show of affection, but we did a great job.
How important is the union vote? And you're here in New York City, you're talking with these members. Do you think you can maybe change some of their minds if they were lifelong Democrats to vote for you?
I think these maybe were Democrats, but for me, they're a Republican. There's not a Democrat in there. These are people, look at that building, look what we can do. We built a lot of great buildings in the city with these people. And they've given me great support. They're really amazing. You know what? They're very, very talented people. They don't get the credit for it. They have very few people can do what they do. We used to do 3 floors a week in concrete, and it was guys like this that did it. So it's very amazing.
Did you know about the?
How have you thought of David Pecker's testimony so far? When was the last time you spoke to him?
No, he's been very nice. I mean, David's been very nice. He's a nice guy.
Did you know, Mr. President? Did you know?
What's that? Well, we have a big case today. This judge isn't allowing me to go. We have a big case today in the Supreme Court on presidential immunity. A president has to have immunity. If you don't have immunity, you just have a ceremonial president. You won't have a president.
Did you know about the payments?
So we have a big, very big case going.
Did you know about the payment?
Say it, what?
Do you anticipate 3 judges, 4 judges?
They're very talented people. They're very smart. They know what to do. They're going to be very fair.
Did you know about the payment to Stormy Daniels?
So you guys heard that right there. I mean, he's pretty confident here in what's going on in New York City in terms of turning people, what he says, on his team here who might have been lifelong Democrats. So that's kind of what we're hearing right now, and he's going to continue, right, to walk around and talk.
I think that he's dealing with the Republican Party chair. I think he's still doing it. That's Ed Cox. He is the son-in-law of Richard Nixon.
Yeah, I was ready, they didn't have my back. They were petty, I stayed in my bed. On that petty, I brought it right back.
Beautiful people, my beautiful patriots, my brothers and sisters. We're going to crack open the cold one in November. I got to hit my sirens, man. I got to hit my sirens, y'all. It's only right. Because little do they know, we're winning. Out of all the disgusting, sickening, corruption, we're winning. It came back to bite them in the... Oh, man. Let's jump straight in, y'all. Make sure y'all drop a like on the video. And I encourage all you guys to spread the love, man. Every last one of y'all, man. I encourage you to spread the love to one another. You see what kind of times we're living in now. We're living in some sick times, y'all. I encourage you to spread the love. God is love, and I love every last one of y'all, man. I hope you're having an amazing week, that April is treating you well. 2024 is our year, y'all. We're going to be cracking open a cold in November. I love saying that, man. I love saying that. That's the saying, y'all. We should get some shirts. We're going to be cracking open a cold one. Make sure it's cold, straight out the cooler to the head.
Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor. Professor Turley, the old saying is that bad case makes bad case law. Are we setting up for some really bad case law here?
Well, I think that you've really captured the moment for the justices. They would love this cup to pass from their lips, but they have to drink. They've been avoiding this for decades. They had a case involving civil immunity where they did say that a president needs immunity in order to function, including in those sort of outer, parameters of his office. The question is, does that extend to criminal law, to criminal charges? And what's often been discussed in the media is how extreme the Trump team's arguments are, bringing up SEAL Team 6 and things like that. But the justices may be equally concerned about the extreme nature of the lower court decision, that it leaves a president without protection. So they've got cliffs on both sides. Either they go over one side and a president has no protections at all, or you go over the other side and a president has total protections and can do most anything. There's a good chance that some of these justices are going to want a third option, something more nuanced, where a president has some protection.
The president was, well, Donald Trump was being interviewed earlier. You saw him out there when he was with the Teamsters in Midtown earlier this morning, and he said, he was asked about this, and he said, if you have a president that can't make decisions because they're fearful that they're going to be caught in a criminal court case, then you just have a ceremonial president. In our country, that doesn't exist in our country.
Yeah, and that is, in fact, the motivating, theme of the Fitzgerald case. When the court last looked at the civil immunity issue and issued that opinion, it said we don't want that chilling effect upon presidents, where they have to constantly wonder if this decision's going to land me in a civil case. The question is, does that apply in criminal cases? And I think the court's going to have a really tough time grappling with this. But there's also practical issues here. Let's say that the court wants a third option, something more nuanced. This is, after all, an incrementalist court. They tend to try to take small steps, not great leaps. If that's the case, the most obvious thing for them to do would be to remand it back to the district court to say, we need you to look more carefully at this record and what here is really related to his office. Where do these questions fall? If they do that, I don't think that they could try the president before the election. And if they don't try the president before the election, Jack Smith may never see a jury in either of these cases.
Trump would have to win, you'd have to think. Meanwhile, let's talk
That's
about
right. That's
talk about the circus in downtown New York City. We know today, we think the judge is going to rule on what type of where he's going to go in the gag order. Did the president actually violate the gag order? What kind of penalty he would pay? Let's get that out of the way first. How long will that last?
Well, I think that the judge is likely to find that he did violate the gag order. That's very clear from the earlier hearing. And really, Trump is attacking the gag order itself. He's saying, look, of course, I'll violate this gag order. I'm running for the presidency. And you said I can't even talk about a guy who was on the air every single night, not just talking about this case and his testimony, but talking about how I shouldn't be president. And you're saying I can't respond while I finish the months leading to this presidential election. I think that Merchant is wrong about Michael Cohen. His order was too broad, and he's being stubborn here. So the question is the court going to tack back a little, narrow this order, while also finding him in contempt? I don't think there's any question he's going to find him in contempt.
But you really do have pretty huge constitutional issues here, whether it's a case in New York, the New York court case where you have a judge telling somebody who's running for president that he can't speak about stuff, or in D.C. in the Supreme Court, where you have the judicial branch basically dramatically curtailing the powers of the executive branch. These are like really big constitutional issues, I think.
They are, and you know what? They're related. The interesting thing about today's Supreme Court decision and the Manhattan case is that Alvin Bragg is probably the best lawyer Donald Trump has right now. He's making the case to the Supreme Court that there needs to be an immunity protection, because
I want y'all to hear that one more time, man. I want y'all to hear that one more time. One more time for the good time. Mr. Bragg.
What they're related. The interesting thing about today's Supreme Court decision and the Manhattan case is that Alvin Bragg is probably the best lawyer Donald Trump has right now. He's making the case to the Supreme Court that there needs to be an immunity protection, because he's the problem. This is exactly what the court was worried about. You've got these Democratic district attorneys clearly politicizing the criminal justice system. The Manhattan case is legally absurd, and it's occurred occurring on the very day that the court is considering how to protect presidents. That cannot but help former President Trump.
And you're even able to say that as a Democrat, right? You still consider yourself a Democrat?
Right. The funny thing is, in the contempt proceedings, one of the things that the former president's being accused of is citing one of my columns. And so I'm used to expressing contempt in opinions, but never an opinion, never a column being an issue of contempt. But
if you're just real quick, David Pecker's on the stand. Karen McDougal is supposed to follow. Can you preview what do you think will happen, and what's the prosecution's approach, and what should the defense be?
Yeah, the fact that they started out with Pecker and McDougal is very telling. This isn't part of the indictment. They're bringing in this earlier alleged affair, and they haven't even got to the main issue, which is dealing with the Stormy Daniels payment. The reason I think that's happening is that they don't have a crime. They're saying we're going to prove all these facts. Well, the facts aren't being contested. Most of these facts are actually accepted by the defense because they're not crimes.
Right.
And so you're going to hear from McDougal. I'm not too sure what she has to offer. Whether or not she had an affair with the former president is completely immaterial to the...
Immaterial. My bad, y'all. I got something falling down on my mega hat. I try to keep my hat clean, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Try to keep my hat clean. Y'all keep y'all hat clean now. Yeah.
Charges in that courtroom. But the main problem is that this judge is allowing this farce to unfold in his courtroom. We are still debating every night, what's the crime that he was trying to conceal? Right. That's not a good thing when you're in the second week of a criminal case.
Right. Jonathan Turley.
Thanks, Jonathan.
We're going to use up our whole retainer before the end of the show.
It's interesting.
Basically, they said things. Why is this even happening? Why does this even exist? The man is supposed to be doing way better things in different places, campaigning. But nah. But come to find out, what's going on has woken up a lot of people. A lot of people are waking up. Waking up. Like waking. Oh, man. And it's reversed. It's come back to bite them in the butt. Everybody sees what's going on, man. And it's just sick and it's disgusting, y'all. Very disgusting. But like I tell y'all, we're going to call this crap out, man. We're going to continue to spread it. So make sure you drop a like, comment down below. And I encourage all you guys to spread the love, man. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know. Spread the love. Be kind. Care for one another. Call. Check on your loved ones. Hug them for me. Please hug them for me. If they're in your area, household, bubble, whatever you want to call it, give them a hug for me. Tell them you love them and you appreciate them. And keep being amazing people. Because guess what? We're going to crack open a cold one in November. I'll catch you beautiful people in the next one, man. Peace and love, y'all.